It was the third visit to Africa and the second visit to Kenya within a year and a half for the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. And although it still remains unclear why he did not attend the swearing-in of President Uhuru Kenyatta,
coming president. No worry, Paul.
His presence in the country also offered an opportunity to meet the 9 heads of state from Africa at State House Nairobi after the swearing-in. With an intention of deepening ties with Africa, the heads of state also deliberated on possibilities of opening a new Israeli embassy in an African country. Diplomatic missions from 4 African countries have so far been opened in Israel in the past 2 years. The Prime Minister, who spent less than 12 hours in the country, later left the country after brief talks with his representatives in Kenya. Meanwhile, the diplomatic standoff between Kenya and the neighboring country Tanzania widened after Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli skipped the swearing-in ceremony and sent his vice president. The differences between Kenya and Tanzania intensified after President Uhuru Kenyatta supported opposition leader Edward Lowassa in 2015, only for Magufuli to take over from Jakaya Kikwete. Since then, the relationship between the two leaders has not been too rosy. Only last month, the Tanzanian authorities burnt to death 6,400 chickens from Kenya on suspicion they could spread bird flu, and later banned the grazing of cattle by Kenyan herders, maintaining that Tanzania is not a grazing field. The move saw the auctioning of 1,000...
Governor Ganok, I want to assure you, we are on course. And very, very soon we'll have Kenya and Uganda signing that MOU kama ile tulisign kati ya Kenya na Ethiopia, na tulete amani mipakani, na tulete maendeleo kwa nchi yetu na jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki.
Morning once again. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country is set to intensify its cooperation with Kenya, especially in the areas of security and agriculture. Netanyahu was in Nairobi yesterday for President Uhuru Kenyatta's inauguration, but only attended the luncheon at State House. He said his government believes in the advancement of Africa and was ready to work with Kenya and other countries to help them achieve their goals. State House says the Israeli premier also held bilateral talks with President Kenyatta, which focused on deepening cooperation in trade, security, and agriculture. Netanyahu made his third visit to Africa in 18 months and the second in Kenya in that period.
Hello. Yes. Indeed. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We believe in Africa. We believe in Kenya. We believe in our friendship. This is something that we translate into actual projects. You continue, Uhuru, not only the great tradition of your father in advancing your country, but also in advancing the friendship with Israel. So we have started under your flagship program, a farm. The farm produces crops. How shall I describe those crops? One word, 2 words. Cash crops. It's agriculture that brings income to Kenya from exports and from other possibilities. Cash crops. Second, we established 6 months ago a center to fight drought, to fight the dryness, to make sure that there's abundant water with Israeli water technology.
Let's head to Uganda now. The country has banned its citizens from traveling to work in Oman, and that's after repeated alleged rights violations experienced by workers in the country. Now, the government has now formed a committee to investigate the allegations. Hundreds of Ugandans travel to the Middle East countries every year, mostly to work as domestic workers, but many return with stories of sexual harassment, torture, or denial of pay. Here's Isabel Nakiria reporting.
Sharon Kemgisha still regrets her decision to find work in the Middle East. Sharon signed up thinking she had got a good job lined up in the United Arab Emirates, but she says the agents were unscrupulous. Parliament recently visited the UAE to probe the allegations.
When we went there, it's a huge expanse of land with glassed houses built in a series, like in one row, then there's another row and another row. So you can see from outside, but you can freely enter and walk in with girls, especially because we found girls seated on either side, and you can look through. So if you see someone you feel like meets your prescription.
Uganda already has labor export agreements with Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
Girls should not go to those countries which Uganda doesn't have an arrangement for export labor with them, because they will not have the protection of the type that other people enjoy in other countries.
While the number of Ugandans seeking employment in the Middle East is not known, unconfirmed reports puts the figure at 65,000. It's not the first time that Uganda is imposing a ban on the export of labor to the Middle East countries. It did the same in 2017, but the ban was lifted after the Gender Ministry said it would tighten its monitoring system. But some girls still suffer hostility.
الجديد الذي يمكن يساعد الطرفين على أن يكونوا أكثر.
The Omani-Israeli relations had been kept under low profile for many, many years, and now it's maybe high time to renew relations, especially when it comes to the new geopolitical architecture of the Middle East. Oman, of course, is one of the what we call moderate Arab states, and it is definitely there talking to Israel and vice versa, not only on bilateral relations, but also on the peace process in the region and how to curb or to block some radical players like Iran. What we can say is that this visit is part and parcel of the American-Israeli-Saudi attempt to create a much more moderate bloc in the Middle East. Oman could serve definitely as kind of a useful go-between, as it had done in the past in some other issues in the Arab fold, and this time maybe the good services of Oman when it comes to kind of a regional process is definitely in kind of a high need, especially when Saudi Arabia has some acrimonious relations with the United States and with others regarding all this saga of the Saudi journalist.
יש כאן כמובן ניסיון בסופו של דבר ליישר קו עם חלק ניכר מהמדינות
it is very, very imperative to note that this morning, no other than Islamic Jihad, in Gaza, was rocketing Israel. This is kind of an Iranian player in Gaza. And I dare say that these rockets was part and parcel, kind of a byproduct maybe of a retaliation of Netanyahu's visit to the Sultanate of Oman, by which to block Iran, and Iran is using its players here in order to destabilize the region. So definitely there are some byproducts, but we will have to wait and see to what extent it becomes kind of a change in the strategy or a game change phenomenon.
Okay, guys, the reason why I compiled all of this information that is happening in the political arena between Israel and being in Oman and Oman, working with Uganda and Uganda working with Kenya, they're all having these in this political arena together, and this man that just spoke was saying it has something to do with Iran. Okay, now I've been given dreams about Iran siding with Turkey and Russia to bomb Israel, and Iran is not too happy about what Netanyahu is doing right now, and there's something going on here, you guys. And Chanda just had that dream where she just put the video out. She heard the name Uganda, and she didn't know where this was at. And she saw a snake with a head like a crescent wrench. Okay, now the crescent is the snake, and the crescent, that's Antichrist. That's Antichrist. And hi, honey. Hi. You look very nice. Sorry, my daughter came in. But that could be pointing to the Antichrist being involved in these political, arena that's going on right now. I think the Lord is showing us another angle of what's happening, because a while ago the Lord told me to keep my eye on Africa. And there's a lot of things that are developing right now. These were all recent, except for one video I showed you last year around this. It was last year around this time right now in 2017. So, with that being said, we know Obama claims to be from Kenya. He has some kind of thing with Kenya. His grandmother lives there or something. I don't know. But last night when I was making my video with all the pictures that I screenshotted and I turned it into a slideshow about things that are happening in the world, the headlines in the world, I started to hear a song playing in my head in the spirit. And it's a warning song, you guys. And I know there's some of you out there that say, God would never give you a song like that, or God, whatever. God can do whatever he wants to do. Okay, I don't put God in a box. He's given me many things through songs. Okay, well, this song, and I hadn't heard it forever, was by Metallica, and it's called Enter Sandman. Okay, Enter Sandman. And I believe that was talking about the Antichrist. And if you go and you don't have to go look at the video or listen to the song, just look at the lyrics. Look at the lyrics, because it's talking about the beast and the dragon and war. And the song's called Enter Sandman. Well, sand, that's like the desert. That's out in the desert, and I believe it was talking about the Antichrist. So I pay attention to things like that. I just songs don't just pop up in my head like that. I don't even listen to that music. So, and then with Chanda's dream about the snake down in Uganda, that's all dry types of areas, the Middle East. And so anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys. Keep watching, because there are sneaky things going on behind in these political arenas behind closed doors. And I believe that the Lord is drawing our attention to these places to see what is going on. Because things that we think are true and right, a lot of the time, the Lord will show his people that's not true. I'm starting to have second thoughts about Netanyahu, really. But God uses these people, just like Trump, to bring about his will. God uses people sometimes in a way that we don't expect. Okay? But I love you guys, and praise Jesus, all glory to God, and God bless you guys.